my name is Corbin Olson. I'm a second year student at the University of Mary, and I'm serving on the steering group of the APTA Student Council. I'm joined here by Dr. Michael Murray.
Right. My name is Michael Murray. I am president of the APTA Academy of Aquatic Physical Therapy. I work at Duke Health in North Carolina. Went to school at Carolina, good conflict of interest right there. But I'm here to talk with students and talk about what we do with our students in our program.
Perfect. Maybe could you start off, Michael, by just telling us a little bit about how you got into your role and what kind of led you there?
Absolutely. The first time I ever heard about physical therapy was essentially working at a pool. And there's this lady doing these weird exercises in the water. And everyone else is swimming. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I had surgery. She had an infection, so she needed 2 surgeries. And she was like, yeah, my doctor was good. He cut me open, sewed me back up, but my PT gave me my life back. And that really got me into it. I got involved. UNC was really good about pushing their students to kind of go to conferences and seek out opportunities to meet people. So I ran for a student board position. I didn't win, but it was a nice little motivation for me to kind of go explore other things. So I walked down the hallway, walked into a board meeting for an aquatics thing and said, hey, I'd like to get involved. And they're like, we're not sure if you could be here, but yeah, come on in. Let's get this working. So, I took a negative, turned it into a positive, and then I've been involved with aquatics and with North Carolina chapters since then.
Sure, that's cool. Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't really know where to go, but you just stuck your head out there and made it happen.
It's one of those things, it's like, when you're motivated enough to do something, you'll find the area, and then there's always a need. Like there's always, all these components could always use some young eyes on things. I know for us, we have our student ambassador that we rely on a lot. She's on some of our committees. And so we encourage students to get involved in committees whenever they can, because that's a great opportunity to kind of learn the structure. And then once you're out, then you can start becoming on the board, because you've already kind of established that connection there.
Sure. Yeah, speaking of students getting involved, for students who aren't a part of the aquatic section, what would be like the benefit, or why would I maybe consider joining the aquatic section?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first off, we want everyone to be involved with APTA at one shape or form. There's a lot of benefits that you can have as a student, that you just can't get if you're not a member. So we encourage people to do that. But we have a really avid student group that we try to advocate for. A lot of times students come to us and they're like, we have a rotation aquatics, so we have no idea what we're doing. So we can provide resources for that, or especially think about being a new grad. Maybe you didn't think about aquatics as your first choice, and then all of a sudden you're in a situation. So we have education opportunities. Like I said earlier, our big goal is to make sure that we are engaging the younger generation, because we want to make sure that the way that we are getting things into the future is going to help the people in that future. And we need young voices in our committees, on task force, just short little times of things to try and get involved so that we can push things into the future, really. So that's what we look for, really.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's really solid. The aquatic section, kind of on a day-to-day, how do you, what sort of work are you guys doing to sort of support your field?
That's a great question. So a little bit of everything. We have our own journal that we support research on. We have different events that we have. We have our certificate program, which essentially is if you just want to kind of get some online education and then a 3-day in-pool course, you can learn how to be above a basic provider. So there isn't a specialization in aquatic therapy. That's something that we've looked into. But what we want to do is provide education opportunities for people to kind of build things up. We also provide networking things if you need to develop a program. So let's say you go to a facility, you see that there's a need in your area for aquatics. How can you maybe either develop your own program where you can build a pool if you can find the funding? How do you partner with hotels or local YMCAs or community centers, all these different ways, racket clubs, so that you can provide the necessary things for them. We reach out to different vendors and see if they have opportunities. We used to partner with different groups where we would have essentially funding for different research grants and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities, and we're always looking for more. My biggest push next is developing a program for students where we can have schools that don't have access to the pools or don't have access to things, that they can come to our learning system, and either the school can let the students have an opportunity to use that by like purchasing like a small package, have us come and teach the program. So we're really gearing our next phase of developing like in-person type things to the students, because that's an area that we feel is the best way to develop things for the future.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's fascinating. Like, I think aquatic therapy is to me is kind of an enigma.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning a lot, and so it's fascinating to hear kind of bringing that into every space.
And we get a lot of people, like I joke with people, because my background is more orthopedic and sports oriented, and we have a lot of people that do peds, and then obviously you're going to get a very large geriatric, but the neuro population as well. We touch all the different components, and we're trying to build those relationships between all of them. And in order to do that, we have to show people that, like, I work with the little old lady with balance troubles and the high level athlete and everything in between. So like, we are the best generalist physical therapists, in my opinion. I'm gonna say that because we have to know a little bit about everything, and the real good aquatic physical therapists think critically about everything. I do want to say too, it's not just the physical therapists, it's our PTAs as well. This is one of the professions where PTAs have a strong force and are extremely knowledgeable. I've learned some of the best things from rotations from some of my PTA colleagues, and I think that this is one of the areas where we can really foster that better together type of idea, is within aquatics. All the different components, all the different states and chapters, all the different payers, and definitely between the PTs and PTAs and the students, of course.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fascinating. I think you provide a lot of like really awesome opportunities and made me excited about aquatic therapy in this section. If I'm just by chance was a second year student or any student interested in the section, like how would I kind of get more involved?
Oh, that's great. You can always reach out to our academy itself. It's admin@aquaticpt.org. We have our student ambassador, Erica Block. She's a Duke student and she's fantastic. And we've kind of tasked her with kind of engaging other people as well. So it's one of those things where we're reaching out to the student population, and the student population hopefully is reaching back to us, so that we can kind of form that like mutual relationship there. But the biggest thing I learned when I was young from somebody who was a student board president, she said, go talk to the presenters, go talk to the leaders of these organizations. They're just physical therapists. They're just people, and they love to talk to you anyway. So most of the most important things happen in those conversations, or like at the bar, but that's separate. But that's where things kind of happen, is like you build those relationships. Like some of the best presentations I've had is just by talking to people and they're like, oh wow, you're interested in this? Oh, that's cool. Wait, we should work together on this type of thing. And that started as a student, and now it just kind of blossoms because those students grow up with you the whole time. So it's great opportunities.
For sure. Sweet. Well, thank you very much for your time and everything you know. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
Nah, I think the biggest thing is, when we talk about the better together thing, it's important that we talk about the students, we talk about PTAs, we talk about PTs all working together. My biggest thing is I want to keep the students involved, and if you get them involved early and you do the early dues kind of starter stuff, that you stay with APTA, you stay with the education, like you come to CSM and you get the best networking you can ever. So like I have people that I work with that are professional PTs I have for professional sports teams, and I have PTs that are running education programs. Like the things that you see that people get interested in, it gets me interested in things, and it builds up my knowledge. So the more we can share that knowledge together, the better PTs or PTAs we all are together. So
yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, even just as a student being here, and everything's just growing, and you network and your interest and excitement, and
well, you get bogged down with school sometimes. So like the fact that if you can come here and just kind of understand that you're gonna know your knowledge, you're not gonna know everything. Like some days you know everything, and some days you feel like the worst PT in the world and you don't know anything. And like the patients will try you on that, but this is the opportunity to build up those relationships with people. It's like, hey, I know there's a lot of PTs and aquatics that focus on lymphedema. That is not necessarily my strong point, but I know now who I can go to in the aquatics world, or in the oncology world, or even in like something random as like pelvic health. Like we have a great relationship with the pelvic health people because there's a lot of core stability that goes on with the pool. So you start building up these little things that you never would think of, building up these relationships, and like this is where the magic happens. And then just being able to continue that magic when everybody goes home and they're away from summer camp again.
For sure. Well, thank you again very much, and look forward to connecting in the future.
Yeah, man, great.